Hey everyone, it's Patrick here. How you going? It's good to have a chat. I like doing these Patreon updates. Gonna have a bit of a chat and just talk about. I don't know. I'll fill you in on everything that's going on in my life at the moment, and then really, really good to see you guys asking some questions as well. So I'm gonna go through some of these questions here, and I'll just answer them as we go. And I want to do a drawing as we're talking, as I'm talking, and go from there pretty much. So that recent kind of deleted scene of the Batman and the Joker. So I don't know if you've seen the new movie. I did, and I absolutely loved it, by the way. Really good movie. And there was this deleted scene that wasn't in the movie, but they released it on YouTube, and it's got the Joker, so you actually get to see, you kind of get to see him. They blur him out a lot, This is the actor here, Barry. Can't remember his last name, but yeah, he did a good job. And so I don't know, I just feel like sketching this guy. I'm going to draw him because we don't really get a clear look. So I want to see if I can draw this guy, this Joker, this version. So this here, see this shot here? Now, in the actual scene that's on YouTube, you only see like that much, then it pans down to this much, and then it pans down to the teeth. So someone on Reddit or somewhere has patched them all together so you can get a clear look at his face. So yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I actually think his face would be a little longer, because this guy's face, I think it would be more like that. You got to look at this guy's head; is a little bit longer, but close enough. And I think that's a good reference. And I've put a few of these together just as a reference as well. So I'm gonna put them to the side, just on my other screen, so that I can just get everything ready and prepared and start drawing pretty much. And then we'll just get into it. So I've got Clip Studio Paint open, bit of a blank canvas, and then we should be alright to go, which will be fun. I'm looking forward to diving into this one. There we go. Alright. Yeah, so apart from that, I'll talk about the movie a little bit because I really enjoyed it. I'm not going to say any spoilers, don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. But overall, I thought it was a very entertaining movie. Probably my favorite Batman now. I'm going to say it. I think Robert Pattinson is my new favorite Batman. Now there's always been a bit of a toss up between, because they've all got their own different versions. They're all different in their own ways. Like Christian Bale's one was my favorite before this. I'll just see if I can whip up ahead. Yeah. My only gripe with Christian Bale's was that voice. It was a really forceful, gurgly kind of voice that he would put on, and it worked back in the day when you would watch it. And I didn't think that much of it back then, but I'd rewatched all of those recently, and I thought, it was just a little cringe for me in some parts when he was like, where are you? It's like really crazy, and I don't know, too exaggerated or something rather. And I didn't mind the really husky kind of low. It was actually a very, I don't know, the way Robert Pattinson did it was more of a presence, like it was more of a creepy presence of the Bat, pretty much. So I don't know, I kind of liked that a little more. You had Ben Affleck's one, which was, I think it was more robotic. It was like a voice changer, wasn't it? Like a mechanical or an electronic one, which was a different take that worked pretty well. But I think Robert Pattinson's one was the best out of those. Now, Ben Affleck's one was really good. I loved his kick-ass attitude. He felt like pretty much like the comic Batman, which was great. Very good representation. But overall, I felt like he was a bit too, I don't know, it was more suited to like teenage audiences, do you know what I mean? It was, which is good, but it was action heavy, over the top, exaggerated action, like by the time Justice League came around, I think, which is good, but this one was more real world and it felt really good. Alright, I'm going really slow with this, so I'm going to try and speed it up a little bit. But yeah, anyway, that's my take. The movie was great, very entertaining. Loved the action scenes. I thought they were really good. What kind of angle am I going to go for here? I think I'll go for a little bit more of just a normal kind of side angle for the Joker here. Alright, I might answer a couple of questions while we're at it. So, we've got one from here, the Don Art. I'll answer your question. How did you come up with the idea for a drawing if you haven't read or watched all the comic content? Could you do a texture tutorial? Yeah, cool. So I think you mean like especially for Marvel, yeah, I've come across a couple of characters before that they've given me where they want me to basically, draw this character that I don't know. So it's only happened once or twice because I'm a big Marvel fan. So I have come across a character that I just didn't know anything about. Usually I just do the research. I go and look at the Wikipedia, and then I'll just do some research on that character and find out, what are their powers, do a little bit of a backstory research on them, and then go from there. That's kind of how I would approach that, yeah. So, I hope that answers it. And I do want to do a texture tutorial soon, so I'm definitely going to do one of those. I actually have that planned. I've got it in my list. I have this big list of tutorials. Every time someone throws an idea out, I jot it down, so that's in the list. So I'm going to do a texture tutorial. I think that'd be a great idea. All right, Jeremy Clark, you said, do you have any tattoos, and what of? If not, what would you get if you were to get one? I got one right here. I don't know if you can see. I'll just have a look at my webcam so I can see if you can see this. It's really hard to see. So I got I got a Spider-Man tattoo. Basically, it's just the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man logo. His chest logo. And I've had it since I was about 21, I think. So, because I love Spider-Man, I'm probably the biggest fan in the world of Spider-Man. Always have been since I was a kid. And I just still remember the feeling of going to the cinema and seeing the first Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movie. It was like 2001 or 2 or something like that. And I left the cinema. I literally felt like I could climb up buildings and swing around. Just had that energy, that buzz. And it just took over my whole world. I absolutely loved it ever since. He's my favorite. And then number 2 just absolutely blew me away. And I just really wanted to get a tattoo. So that's the only tattoo I've got. And yeah, it is my favorite. I don't regret ever getting that tattoo, which is a good thing. Because, some people don't really, after a certain amount of years, you just don't like them anymore. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. All right, I'm going very slow with this Joker picture here. See if I can get a jaw in there. I don't even know what kind of angle I'm going to go for here, but we'll give it a good hot crack. All right, so I'll put that in there. There we go. See if I can just get something going while I'm talking, and then I'll get back into those. Questions. I want to just get a basic setup. Where's that eye line? About there, I reckon. This will be fun. I really want to try to flesh this out. See if we can get a good look at this Joker, kind of my representation of him. Right, so I reckon he'll have, he's got some crazy disfigured kind of cheeks. I'm going to have them kind of poke out a little bit more and go down. Like so. I'm doing a really, really rough version to start with, and then we'll just add to it from there. So this is just so I can get a feel of the structure of his face, and I'll have some kind of big smile, obviously, and then hopefully I can come up with something. Right, let's do another question. So Paul Cameron, you said, great idea. I know I've asked you this already, but it may benefit others. What shortcuts can be used to color a bigger piece? Oh yeah, well, yeah, for coloring a massive piece, I love to use, so when I have my inks done, I'll plonk it into Clip Studio Paint, and that's awesome with the paint bucket tool. So you know the fill just here, because let me show you. I'll see if I can find something. All right, so I found this. This is this unfinished piece I've had for ages now. I will finish it one day. Yeah, but if I was going to color a big piece like this, I use this paint bucket tool, which is awesome. Now I find it different to Photoshop. Photoshop doesn't really work like this, but this one's good because it goes under your outlines. Hang on, what if I duplicate that? Yeah, hang on. And then I'll just set it to multiply and then put that on white. Yeah, there we go. All right. So let's just say this is the outlines above, and then underneath you want to have your flat colors. So every time I go to fill with a green or something, I just keep tapping. This is how I love to just do it. Now these are messy kind of inks. I've got a lot of sketchy lines underneath, so they're stopping it. But if this was a clean sketch, I'd be able to fill this out pretty quick and get a full color Hulk in a matter of seconds. And then I would make a new layer and do like a Thor and then a Captain America. And I find that's a really good way to get, you know, to get flat colors done really quick. So just using this paint bucket tool. Another way that you can do it is if you had a character, say like Drax over here. I'm just doing a light selection with the lasso tool around him. This is a really bad example because I've got such sketchy lines around. Anyway, but if his inks were on their own layer, and you just wanted to quickly get him, so I would just make a quick selection, and then I'll go to the magic wand tool, hold Alt for the minus, and just snap that. Like click on the outside in the blank areas, and then that's going to snap those lines to his body. Like that, and then I would be able to just get like a really quick flat color and then just fill it, and then you've got like his, you know, I didn't do a very good job, but you get the idea. And then his you know, their flat colors are on their own layer. You know, that's a quick way to lay out flat colors. If you're going full color rendering, it just takes time. There's a lot more to it. There are shortcuts that you can take. But it really is about experience, I suppose. Over the years, it takes time to you will pick up all these little shortcuts yourself, and you eventually just adapt to those, and they become a part of you. So that's like me when I'm drawing my full color pieces. I just have these little things up my sleeve. The just experience of knowing the program. You kind of become the program, and then you can get it done a lot quicker by just doing that. It's not really a good answer, sorry, but it really is just about time. You got to take your time on them, and then you'll have all your colors done. But I hope the paint bucket flat color thing helps. Flat colors can take a long time on a massive piece to do. So yeah. All right, let's move on a little bit. All right, Craig Stewart. It says you seem very settled into your style and medium, but do you ever think about or try anything different? Do you ever think, hey, I feel like giving watercolor a go, for example? Yeah, that's a good question. I am very comfortable with my style. I kind of stick to what I know, don't I? But I do like to branch out. So, for instance, it was like, you know, a couple of years ago when I was doing Into the Spider-Verse for Marvel. That's totally a different style for me. They don't really even use outlines, especially for Miles Morales. Like, the style for that movie was not really any comic outlines. A lot of it's a painted style almost, but digital, very, very digital art kind of like. So that was really a big learning curve for me, doing that and changing up. Like, I didn't know that style at all. Yeah, and that was a big change, big game changer, really. So, and personally, I did try it. I remember back in it was about 2012. I've got a folder here. And yeah, here. So I went through a phase and I tried a whole different style. And so I started doing this. Like, I remember at the time, I was kind of a little bored of my style. I got to a point where it just didn't change anymore. And I don't know why, but I was like, I really wanted to change, and this is 2012, and then I went and did this digital art. I was like, I want to try some like more painted style, and I felt like I really enjoyed this. Like I had a lot of fun painting this guy. This is like Senior Man, not Superman, Senior Man, and yeah, I just really had fun with that. So I tried to do more. I kind of ditched my style for a while, and then I started doing these. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. So there's a Joker, Heath Ledger, God of War. But then as I kept doing it, I realized I found it really hard to clean up. It wasn't clean enough for me. It was a very messy style. You see the painted look, which is fine, but I really missed doing the clean look, I suppose. Ron Burgundy, Tommy Vercetti, did Nico Bellic from GTA 4. Oh, and then I started to come back again, and there's Max Payne. I did adapt this a little bit to my style as I went. See, this is kind of half and half here. So this is still got my outlines back, but you can still kind of see that painted look that I kept when I did this piece here. So yeah, I did change up my style a little bit once there. This one was a commission for IO Interactive for Hitman, and I did that painted look, but with a little bit of outlines as well. See, I kind of kept it for a while, and then I really missed it. I actually went through a bit of a dark time there, art-wise. Like, I felt like I was lost. When I broke away from my style, I felt lost, and I really didn't like it. And so I started to snap back to my style, my original style again, like here, and I'm starting to get more bolder outlines back again, and went for that sharper look. This Hitman here, and he's supposed to assassinate this guy here. This is actually in the game, part of a mission. Yeah, but you can see it did take part of my style, and then I think I eventually just went back to my old ways again, and started bringing it back. Here's another example. Breaking Bad. There's another Joker there too. That's Joker 52. Yeah, so I think here as well, I really started to bring it back more. Yeah, especially by the time I did my Last of Us piece. And then, yeah, now we're up to where I am now. So, yeah, I did try. But yeah, I think for now I'm going to stick to my style though. I think I got a bit scared of going back to those. Just the unknown. I wouldn't mind trying out like traditional art painting, like actually getting some stuff out and starting painting. That would be fun. Alright, John McCarthy, how do you balance time spent on art, work, enjoyment, and private life and family time? Well, that's a good question. Yeah, my life is absolutely pretty crazy. I'm very lucky to be able to work from home. So I do everything in my studio that I made out here. It's actually used to be a garage. So this is separate from my house. And this used to be just a garage. The floors used to be just like concrete and grease and oil and shit like that. And then I renovated it. So by the time I started working for Marvel about a year in, I managed to save up enough to just get this renovated. And then and now it's my studio, and it's my safe place. I love it in here. I've got all my figurines and my statues up to really make it feel like home and my happy place. So that's good. And I find it really important to just, I used to have my studio inside in a back room where the family would be running around the house. My wife is a stay-at-home mum, so she looks after my two boys. And so the house is pretty full on sometimes. And I found it really hard to work really so close to everybody, and you just lose focus. And sometimes the boys will run in and you'll have a little play, and then they'll go back out again, or they're banging on the doors and stuff. So having this separate space out here is very important to me, and I think it's just changed everything. I can just literally focus and zone right into all my work. So that has been a big game changer, having the studio out here. I find that really helps with work. Family life, yeah, great. The balance is good. So I treat this as like a 9-to-5 job. I come out here about 8:30 in the morning, and I work till about 5 o'clock at night. And then sometimes I just come back out here when the kids go to bed at like 8 o'clock, and I'll just keep working because I just have fun with it. So, and that's usually just to catch up on things as well. If I've got a lot of Marvel projects that are just so full on, which is usually all the time, I'll just knuckle down on those after work about there. So that's usually, sorry, I should have been drawing that whole time. But that's kind of how the life goes. So the balance is, if I feel like I'm snowed under, I'll try and knuckle down a little bit more late and just keep doing late nights and stuff like that. So yeah, but that's good. And what else did you say? You said, what would be your dream project, be it for Marvel, DC, another franchise of your own? Dream projects, I'll be absolutely honest, it's exactly what I'm doing right now. So Marvel, I'm a big Marvel fan and always have been. I know most of the characters, and I really enjoy everything they throw at me. It's been so enjoyable lately. So that's kind of, I feel really lucky. It's just the dream job already, so I couldn't complain. DC is a little darker for me. I do like doing all the Batman stuff, but I don't know every character because I'm more of a Marvel guy. So I would have to say this is it. This is where I'm my happiest, and yeah, I feel very lucky as well. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. All right, so Sim Shady, we've got excited to get some insights into all your questions, but one I'd ask is, how did you go about getting such a huge social media presence? Did it just happen naturally over time, or was there a big shift when you started your Marvel work, for example? That's a really good question as well. So mine was more just it just happened naturally over time. I started in about 2007 is when I started the DeviantArt account, because that's the first time I ever heard that you could post your art online. I used to post my art in forums just for fun, because I used to be a big Grand Theft Auto fan, or I still am, and there was like a community on the forums online, and I'd just post art in there, and the reaction always used to be really good. And then there was people like, why don't you post this on DeviantArt? And I'm like, what is DeviantArt? And then I just discovered, like I went and looked up DeviantArt and got straight into it, and that just changed absolutely everything for me. I started posting up fan art on DeviantArt, and then that's when the social media the people started following me, because I was. It also has to do with my old job used to be as a graphic designer at my local newspaper here, and that's just print design. So I do like text, banners, and things like that. Very boring. Really, no, it was good, but that was the other creative side. My job was graphic design. Anyway, so I used to get a lot of free time for some reason during my work hours. So I'd have, like, in an 8-hour shift or whatever, I'd have a good 6 hours of freedom of just absolutely nothing. I could have been bored just sitting on the internet, but I decided to draw all the time. So because I got all that free time every day, and I worked there for 8.5 years, I just drew all the time at work, and I've got to thank them for that, because if I had a job that just didn't allow that free time, I wouldn't even be here today with what I'm doing right now. So that's lucky in that way, where I had that time. And yeah, so because I was drawing every day for like 8.5 years, I managed to like have 100 or 200 pieces in my gallery by the time it was like 5 years in, and slowly just kept getting people following, because it was fan art as well. I just wanted to have fun, and because it was fan art, drawing stuff that turns out a lot of other people enjoy as well, gets them on board, and then they they end up following you. So that's kind of how it happened for me, naturally over time, and then it just grew to bigger opportunities the more I got. So that's kind of how that worked. Just want to make sure this nose is big enough. Yeah, I think that's all right for now. I'm just going to slowly try and see if we can get a bit of an idea of what we want here. But Yeah, good question. So there have been times, like you said, though, there have been times where you'll do a certain picture and then that picks up and you get, all of a sudden you get a flood of followers. That has happened, I think, on those bigger pictures that I've done before. So like usually the Marvel Legends, Marvel villains and stuff that I've done, stuff like that. Yeah, that would happen there, and those kind of things. So, but apart from that, I think his jaw needs to be a little bigger. Let me just work that down. Yeah, a bit more like that, I reckon. Still trying to just work this out slowly. Yeah, so that's that one as well. I hope that answers your question. Slowly, naturally, over time. So this is from Cable. What is the worst advice you see or hear being dispensed in your world? What is the worst advice you see or hear? Oh, that's a tough one. The worst advice. I'm not quite sure. I've just been thinking about it. The worst advice. I'm not sure. I'd probably maybe anything to do with like tracing. If people are, but I don't think people give that as advice either. Maybe if people say tracing is okay, like it is when you're very young, and if you're not going to use it for, like if you trace something and then turn it into like a piece that you claim as you did it from scratch, and like that's not very good. It's okay to practice stuff doing it by eye and judging it. I think that's a great way to go. I got no problems with all that. I think tracing is not really a good thing, but that's only for, yeah, no, that's a tough question. I'm not really quite sure. Sorry about that. I'm not really quite sure about that one. Next question we got from, it says Crete If Art 507. Sorry if I read that wrong. All right, someday you will do some Dragon Ball art with all the characters. It would be good for collection. Yeah, I am actually a big Dragon Ball Z fan as well. So you might see that one day, and it's one of those things where I've put it off for a long time because it's, you know, when you're a really big fan of something and then you're kind of intimidated to draw it or try it out. That's kind of what I've been doing really with Dragon Ball. I'm afraid I'm going to stuff Goku up if I draw him. So that's kind of what I've been doing there. But yeah, I really want to have a go at it one day. I think I did draw one once. I sketched him. It's also a style thing as well. I would actually love to try Goku in my style. I think that'd be fun. But yeah, I know what you mean, and I would love to get some more Goku fan art out there. I'm going to really get those smile lines going in this guy too. So there we go. Alright. Getting there. It's not really looking like him. I think he needs a bigger... where's the actor? I need to look at the actor over here. Right, he definitely needs a longer nose. So I'm going to just get all of this. What if I just... Actually, I know what I'll do. I'll get that whole... We'll get that. And the mouth, I think. And we'll just see if I can just bring that down. Maybe like that, I think. And I think his eyes are a little closer in. Oh, they're close enough as they are. We'll just keep going and see what comes of this. I want to get some teeth in there. He's got really messed up teeth as well. So I want to try and get like a bit of a fang, like not a fang, but like up there. Drop it down to some front teeth that are really sideways. And then keep going. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that'll do it actually. Kind of like that. Really demented teeth. Anyway, let's move on. I'll see if I can just quickly get that in there. There we go. All right. I want to get longer teeth. Actually, they're too small. I think. I want to get a bigger smile. I need to get a bigger smile. Right. All right. So the Dragon Ball art. Yep. So next we've got Cable said, "Do you have a quote you live your life by or think often?" Yes, I do, kind of. So there's the ones I like the best are there's one that I stick by is like you can do anything. Like you literally can do anything if you just put your mind to it. And because it's true. Some people think they can't do those kind of things, or they're not good enough or anything like that. That's just self-doubt. You literally can do anything if you just dive into it, and you have to have passion for it as well. You have to find a way to enjoy it more as well. Whatever it is that you're doing, you can definitely get better at it. And you just got to look at a lot of the people who are successful, and that, they all started somewhere. They were all just a kid like us, like young, and they all started somewhere. So you just got to remember things like that. You can do anything that you want in the world. Be anything you want. You could be the best artist in the world as well. Like, it just takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication and fun. I just think you have to enjoy it, though. You've got to have that passion and that drive, to just keep going and don't give up. Marty said, what is the number one most important art lesson you have learned? Important art lesson that I've learned. Ooh. I'd say that a good lesson that I learned, especially over the years, is try not to get stuck on one sketch. If you're drawing something up and you're sketching it, and you just feel like it's not working for you, but you keep going and going on that same sketch until you've been on it for like an hour, and it just becomes tiring and painful, and you hate it, and you're still working on this same sketch for so long, and then you eventually just drop it and give up and walk away because it's like art block. One thing I've learned over the years is don't do that. Don't stick to that one sketch. There's usually a gut feeling trying to tell you that this is not working. Try something else. So just put that away. Even if you just put it to the side, start sketching again. Sometimes a new sketch has a different rhythm or a different feeling, and it sparks you again, and you're like, oh, it's working, and then you go. So it's okay to just keep sketching. It doesn't matter if you come up with like 10 different poses, 10 different sketches, and just rough them out. Don't try and sit on the little details first. You have to really, best advice is just rough them out. Like, I'm doing this guy here, and this is rough as guts, and I've got no real detail in there. This is just trying to get the structure of the face, and it's okay. Like, I would never try and work on some fine details first, so try not to get stuck in that. So yeah, the best advice is just keep moving on. So just keep moving on and just get some new sketches, work on the next one. Like, if you trust that gut feeling of yours, and just scrap it if you feel like it, and then just draw again, something different. If you really are stuck in an art block, change the topic altogether. Work on something else that you think is more fun, something that, like a character that you love more, and that'll get you out of the art block. If you draw something else, even if it's as simple as just a face or something like that, to get you out of that art block, and then you find a character that you really love, and then it turns out really well because you're enjoying it, you've got a passion for it, and then the sketch comes out great, whether it's Wolverine or whatever like that, and then you've got it back. You get your mojo back, and then you can go back and try the other thing you were doing. And you might find that it actually worked, and you're back in action again. Best advice, I think. Okay. Are you still going to be doing your podcast? Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Well, this is kind of like leading into it, isn't it? With me talking away. I kind of like want to treat it like this. I think we'll probably do this more. Maybe I will turn this into the podcast. It'll be a bit more like this. And I can draw and chat. But I want to include other things into this podcast that I'm planning for Patreons, just for us. I don't even know if I'd put it out there to the world. Maybe I would, actually. Maybe I'll just put it up on YouTube for everyone to see. But it'd kind of be like this. just me chatting. I might even get a guest in. I've got a few friends. I've got an animator friend as well. Talk all about animation. But yeah, most of the time I think it'll just be me chatting. But I would like to we could break it up into little segments, and I could have, we could have like an artist of the month or something like that, and highlight certain people who are doing really well. And I'd like to do another one where we highlight people that are making a big difference, that are growing, you know what I mean? So it's not about everyone being the best, it's about people that are improving well, and you can see them growing as well. It doesn't matter what level you are. I want to really highlight people and say, look, you're doing great. Look at you compared to 3 months ago. Look at this new one you've done. That kind of stuff. And really, I just really want to make this Patreon a place where people feel like they can be and improve and just belong really as an artist. And I just want to make it as exciting, because I wish I had something like this when I was younger and starting out. I had nothing, so I was the only artist I ever knew in my town. I didn't know anyone else that could draw, apart from, I had a friend of mine, but he's in a different lane. He does animation and stuff, and more cartoony as well. But yeah, so if I love seeing all of you guys and girls here in this Patreon and the art community that we've built over the last few years here, and it's so important to me, and I feel like I belong here as well. Like this, I found my place. It means so much to me, this whole thing. So doing a podcast would be great, because I feel like it'd be more like a place where people can you can watch it. I'll do it probably once a month. People can check it out, and the highlights, and we can mention. I'll mention certain artists and people and whatever. I think it'd be fun. So that is in the plans. It's more about when I can do it. Marvel have just been absolutely slamming me, so or I better get through some more questions. There's still a heap to go, and I want to keep this to about an hour, I think, this podcast. Podcast, there you go. Anyway, let's have a look. It says, how do you use shadows well with simplified anatomy? For example, heavy shadowed work like Mignolis. Yeah, his stuff's really good. So I think he uses pitch black shadows, doesn't he, with his character work? And I know is it Mignolis? I'm really bad at pronouncing names. Let's have a look. Yeah, he's got a really good technique where it's super simplified, and basically he'll draw, you can see the anatomy and stuff, but a lot of it turns into a silhouette, which is clever. See, like Hellboy here, if you really look at it, it's almost all a silhouette, and he's only got these details here. So you look at those clothes there, and the chest and the head, and a bit of the belt. But that's really the only details in his stuff, and the rest is a silhouette. Cool style, really simplified, and people, it's very appealing to the eye, things like this, and this is why his work works so well, and he is a very popular artist, because it's just really appealing to look at, and he's got a great style as well. It's very animated. So you see what I mean here? There's a lot of silhouetting, and it's just like shapes, basically, with solid black lines. And like here as well, down there, didn't need to draw any of those fine details in the middle because it's all shadowed out. So it's a really good technique. And what did you ask me? So how do I use? So yeah, I think, well, for your question, how do you use shadows well with simplified anatomy? Well, I hope that explains it a bit. Like, think of it as a silhouette first. Even try, it's probably good practice actually. We should probably try this on maybe a monthly project or a tutorial, to create a silhouette first. Like, imagine if I had like that Hellboy piece. Where is it? Up here. Can you just imagine if you had like this, and if that was an actual full black body silhouette, and then use the eraser to start creating a character and just erase some parts out and see what you end up with. I think that's a good practice thing too. And that way you're focusing more on the silhouette first. and then you'll end up with a full character. I think that's a fun art technique for something different, you know, to draw with an eraser and chip away the detail rather than put the detail in. I think that's a bit of a twist there, and we should try that sometime. But yeah, no, I think that's a cool technique, and it's a really good thing that he does. I love his work. All right, we'll move on. Jason Wells, if you were starting out as a budding artist today, what advice would you give yourself, and do you think it would be different to how you've actually done it? Yeah, I reckon. I think that if I was starting out, it'd probably actually be very much the same advice. It'd probably just be keep doing what you're doing, because when I started, and like I said before, I just wanted to draw fan art all the time, and I just wanted to draw what I loved. So if I was really into a video game, I'll just draw it all the time. So GTA, I did a lot of GTA art, and go with the flow. That's what I would say, and just draw what you love. It's very important, because when you're drawing something that you're a fan of, you have a passion for it, a certain passion that I find is very important. So if you're going to do that, I'll just see if I can get this hair in for the Joker. At least that'll get something done. I just feel like that'd be the best advice that I could give, is just you have to enjoy it. You have to have a certain passion for it. Yeah, I found that some of the art that ended up being okay, or that I thought worked well, was the ones that I had most fun with. So the ones that I was a fan of, and I really enjoyed drawing it more. So that's the kind of stuff that, just motivation is everything, and that's probably the key to everything. I would say. Really want to try and get this hair in. He's got some like crazy hair. He's also got it all slicked up, hasn't he? I like how this Joker's hair is like, it's just crazy, and it's like short, kind of slicked up like this, I think, and then it's all swished over, kind of like that. So I really want to have that kind of an effect. There we go. I reckon that's probably going to do with the hair. I think that's kind of how it's working. A bit more like that. I want to go absolutely nuts with it. So it's really swooped over. Let me erase some of this other parts over here. Alright, I better answer some more questions before we run out of time. I've got 9 minutes left. Alright. How do you recover from art block? Yeah, I think that's kind of what I explained before. Doing those, just don't get stuck into that one picture. You have to change it. So scrap it. If you're really stuck in that art block, just get rid of it and start on something fresh, whether it's a whole new thing just to get you out of that art block, and it'll give you a good feeling of that you're doing it. Because the big thing with art block is you feel like a failure. You feel like you're not as good, or like you doubt yourself. That's what I always do anyway, personally, every time it happens to me. So change it up, draw something that you know would work out well, whether it's Venom or something fun that's like really out there. You'll start to feel good again. Like it's a mental thing. So when you get art block, try and draw something different that's fun, and then you'll be out of it. That's kind of the advice I would give on that. All right, so and that was Don Dayrit, by the way. The next one we got Thwip. How was it going to a grocery store and seeing your art on merchandise? And have you ever thought about trying other mediums of art like spray painting or tattoos? Yeah, well, that's a good one, because I remember still to this day the first time I walked into the supermarket, my local supermarket, and then they had a campaign going with those tokens that you can collect, and they were like Marvel tokens, and it was all my work. And they had these massive banners up on the like above as you walk in, like huge banners, and then standing banners of like my Gamora and Star-Lord and all these other ones and Spider-Man. I couldn't believe it, and I was like, "What the heck?" And this is just locally for me, and it really blew my mind. I could not believe it, and it was a really good feeling. So, and yes, I have thought about doing tattoos before. because I really enjoy that kind of medium as well. And I have designed a few tattoos for friends, so I've done a couple of those before for friends, and they were fun. A couple that I regret, actually, I did them when I was a lot younger, so like 20. I wasn't as good of an artist, and I feel like and this my best friend as well, and he's got it permanently on his arm, and I don't think he's too happy with it, but it's okay. And it's just like barbed wire with like a skull in it and stuff like that, and yeah, we thought it was cool at the time, and then now as time's passed, I'm like, oh, that was not good. So unfortunately, he stuck with that for a while. But nowadays, I feel like it'd be a really fun. I would really enjoy doing that, I reckon. But yeah, tattoo art is really fun. Especially, I love when I see some people that have got my art and tattooed it on their body. Really makes me want to do it some more as well. Yeah, I was actually just looking, and I found one of my Joker designs on a tattoo. I'll see if I can find it. There we go. I don't know if you can see that. I found that design earlier, just today, as I was looking online. That's just someone just did that of my old Joker, one of my old drawings, and put it on there. So I love seeing that stuff. So, I better move on. We got a few minutes left. All right. What age did you start drawing? What artists were you more inspired by? Yeah, so I actually started drawing with pencils at a really young age, actually, like 7, maybe more younger. I was always drawing. And so it's always been a part of my life. My dad was an artist as well. He was more of a painter back in the old days. He was a bit of a painter, and he was a singer, a musician as well, very creative. So it might be in the genes, I'm not sure. My son also, he's only 4, but he just draws all the time, so I think he might end up the same. So I started really young, and then I really got into it in college, into digital art. So around college time, when I was about 18, I started to dabble with digital art. So yeah, that's when all that started. This guy's forehead's not that. I need to pull the hair down, so I'll just see if I can do that. He hasn't got much of a forehead, so there we go. That's probably better. Yeah, that's better. All right, this is getting there. Taking a long time, this picture. But yeah, so what was the other question? So it was my artist that I'm inspired by as I was growing up. It was Humberto Ramos, big influence. I love his energy in his artwork. Very, very cartoony like as well, but he did a lot of Spider-Man art for Marvel. And then Ryan Otley is another big influence of mine as well. Just, yeah, blew my mind. So they're my inspirations. All right, so Jason says, how's freelance artist life, and how to get more income by doing a freelance job? Yeah, freelance is the dream. That's literally the dream job. So, and this Patreon is my main, this is my main source. I couldn't do this without you guys, so I love creating all these tutorials, and just being a part of, doing all of this is so much fun for me, and I'm really grateful that it's all worked, because it's really hard to pick up a Patreon and to get one started. So I'm really thankful this worked out. Marvel is my other half of my job, so I'll get projects from them and that. So, and that's obviously, that was luck getting that job. Like I said before, I had to have that following growing over the years, caught the right eyes. Marvel saw my work and then asked me, would I like to start working for them? And I said, yes, hell yes. And that's how that started. So that's just because I shared my work all the time, so on my gallery. So that's how I got into freelance, basically, was just because I did a lot of fan art, shared it a lot, and that's that. So make sure you're always sharing your work, no matter what quality you think it is. Share it, get it out there. Now, so what was the other question? Sorry, I'm dabbling. Freelance is so much fun. it's just freedom, you know. But I have to work a lot. So the downside is I don't get holidays. I don't get that security either of having a full-time job with all those benefits. I don't get all that. I basically just, it's all on me for my family to survive. It's a scary thing when you really think about it, but it is worth it. So very happy about that. All right, so Paul Chari said, "Hey Patrick, are you always satisfied with your drawings? Do your boys have the same talent like you for drawing? What would you do for a living if it was not drawing? Do you speak foreign languages? What sport are you into?" I'm not into any sports, actually. I've never really been a fan. I do like our Australian football, but not heavily. But I do have a team. I go for the Melbourne Demons. And, but I don't have a team. I don't really get that into sports. I am not always satisfied with my drawings. So sometimes I'll draw one up. If I'm not happy, I'll pretty much scrap it. I've got a lot of unfinished art that's just sitting there as well. So, not always happy. So I just keep trying. I try again. My boys do like to draw. They're actually both pretty good for their age at drawing. My youngest son, Jackson, he's 4, and he is drawing all the time. He also has autism, so he's that I think plays a part in it, because I've heard that they love to focus on, people with autism. They really hone in on a certain thing, and he's honing in on art as well, which is, he really enjoys it. It's his calm thing. He just loves to do it. It calms him down, enjoys it, and he does a lot of artwork. So, so he loves it. I think he's gonna probably do it more than my other son Mason, who is 7, and Mason does draw really well for his age as well, though. So I think they're both going to enjoy it. What would you do for a living if it was not drawing? I would probably be doing just graphic design like I used to do. That was my full-time job before, a graphic designer. But I would love to do it for a studio, a proper design studio. I used to work for a newspaper, and that's doesn't give you full potential to a graphic designer's abilities. So I would love to do it for, poster designs and like magazine articles, things like that would be fun. That was probably what I would do if I wasn't an artist. And I don't speak any other languages. Sorry, I only speak English. I really should dabble in a lot of different areas, but I only know English. Sorry. All right, Cyril is here, 6 Real MX, and hello Patrick. Since you draw digitally like many of us, I guess, what do you do with all your work? I'm not quite sure what you mean. So what do I do with all my work? So I usually just usually when I'm done with it, I'll put it up on my website, and I'll that's kind of like my online portfolio, so it just stays there. I do have a save file system of my own, not a file system, I just save it on my computer in a big file, and I love to keep it all there. So I don't really do much with it after. Like, I think you mean, what do I do with my work? Do I print it out? I don't really print them out. I just kind of leave them. So I just collect them and put them online, really. Do you just keep... Oh, yeah. Do you keep all the files on your computer? Yeah. Do you have them on external hard drives? Yeah, I do. Just in case my computer crashes, I want to be able to grab it and run. If the house is burning down, I can grab the hard drive and run. That's personally what I do, and I'm afraid somehow to lose them someday if it breaks or crashes. Yeah, I do. I do the same. Or maybe you do have them somewhere online, a private thing. No. I remember when I started, I tried to get them all printed, so I could keep them physically, at least one of each drawing. But now I have too many that would be expensive to print them all. Do you get your work systematically printed? Yeah, no, I only if I'm getting ready for like a print con or something like that to sell some art, maybe I would print them out. But I don't really print them much, unless it's one of those really big ones that I've done before, like the MZU or the Halloween one. I print them just because I've put so much effort into them and work that I want to have them big, you know. And I feel like it's a shame not to. I've put so much effort into them, and I thought, oh well, may as well print it out. That's usually what I'll do. Yeah. This joke is not going very far, is he? Oh well, it's okay. I'm gonna start trying to see if I can put some detail in. See, this is just the rough stage too. So if I was gonna do him proper, I'd probably fade it back and then do a new layer. I kind of feel like the hair would be like this, a little more choppy on the top, like definitely shaved at the sides. I know that from the deleted scene, his hair's like shaved. He's deformed as well, so he's got like a bit of a deformity. So I'm gonna do a bit of crazy stuff. Let's just like, because I haven't got much time left, I'm gonna like start to put in a couple of these crazy details, because when I do it, by the looks of it, he's got like chunks coming out. So I'd probably have these cheeks nice and chunky, and then come down like that, and then have just, yeah, I don't know. I want to make him so he's just like absolutely deformed. It'll take more time, basically. So there. Alright, I'll read a couple more questions before we wrap up. We're definitely going to need a few more of these details through here, aren't we? Alrighty. What do we got? Yeah, so I keep all my artwork on my computer, basically. So Gavin said, hey Patrick, question I wanted to ask was, did you ever go to school for art, and did you teach yourself how to use programs like Clip Studio and Photoshop? Well, I'll answer that first. No, I've never been to an art class or studied. I've always been self-taught from the beginning. So that's kind of that. I really didn't. Yeah, it was all, the interest was just really high for me to just draw all the time. So I never really had when I was younger, especially, I didn't have enough like money to go and like go to a school. Plus, where I live, there's no access to schools like that, like art schools. So it just doesn't exist in Tasmania. So yeah, I'm all self-taught. I taught myself how to use. Well, Photoshop was part of my college. Like they introduced me to Photoshop way back in college, and I just taught myself. And then Clip Studio Paint, my mate Bobby got me into that, and ever since I just absolutely loved it. So I just could not believe that I had missed out on a few years of it. Great program. It's made for artists. So. And yeah, no, I just taught myself mostly. I did look up a couple of YouTube videos at the start, I think, just to get my head around it. But yeah, self-taught. And what's the next question? Another question, if I can ask, is how does a regular work week schedule look like for you? How many hours a day do you spend drawing for a company or for yourself? Yeah, so... Well, my work week is lately, unfortunately, has been all mostly Marvel I've had to do. And then when I make sure that I have set Patreon things, so my tutorials are every fortnight, and I make sure, I always make sure that I get those done, get them out there. Monthly projects, art competitions, and all that stuff for Patreon are all timed. So they all have deadlines and things, so I know what to expect with them and when to do them, and I make sure I get them all out. But yeah, and so anything else lately has been all Marvel, because they've put the pressure on. I've got these massive I wish I could tell you guys what I've been doing. These Marvel projects are so fun. There's but I cannot tell you. I'll get sued. I'll probably get sued because it's all top secret. But I cannot wait to tell you guys once they're done. Got some big things coming to show you guys and share with you all. And yeah, they just need a lot of attention right now. And so I can't wait till I can actually draw a full piece. Like, I've got a couple of unfinished pieces here for Patreon I can't touch yet, because I just can't put a day aside. I could actually. I'm going to try and dive into that soon. And I'm just going to do it. But yeah, it's just this other stuff needs all my attention. So yeah, that's mostly all of that, and that's what my work days are looking like. I'll probably do about 10 hours a day, by the way. Okay, Stephen said, what inspired you to become a full-time artist? So, a full-time artist, do you know what? It was never planned. It never was planned. I actually didn't know that you could actually get a living off this. So it all just fell into place, really. Thank you to Marvel and that for actually, offering me the job and getting me this. So that's kind of how it all panned out. It's never been planned. But like, if I was going to plan it, I would probably definitely would have set up more of an online portfolio earlier, like my official website. I probably would have had that a lot earlier and had it more professional and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Okay, which do you think is, this is Jay, by the way, which do you think is more beneficial to your portfolio, diversity or consistency? Oh yeah, well, I actually think consistency and style is more important. So yeah, definitely in the way of style, so people kind of want to know what they're going to get when they want to hire you. So whether it's a company, and they've got their mindset on projects, and they're like, need an artist, and they're like, we need a specific style. So they'll look for, if they found your portfolio, and if it was scattered with all these different styles, it's confusing, and they wouldn't know, what they're going to get out of you. Even though it's really good that you can do all these different things, and you can really mix it up, and you're a person of many talents. That's a good thing, but in the way of selling yourself, I actually think it's best to present your one thing that you're best at and that you enjoy doing most, because when you work for someone, you want to make sure you enjoy it. So make sure that when you're promoting your portfolio, that the style that whatever you're promoting is consistent and it all matches. Yeah, so yeah, I think consistency is best. Alright, so Eric said, hi Patrick, when drawing a new character or scene, do you spend a lot of time studying for references or details like clothing, blah blah, yep, anatomy, spaceship design, yeah, or is pose, composition, rendering and lighting the main thing? I do. I spend a lot of, sometimes I'll spend a good hour gathering references. So for whatever I'm going to draw, I kind of did it with Joker here. I just grabbed a few references of the actor and then the scene itself, just to understand and just see what's going, like how, I don't even think he looks like him at all now. I'm looking at it. See, I have not got this likeness down at all. But I mean, that's just how it goes sometimes. And but yeah, referencing is very important, and you just want to make sure that it's like a plan. You want to plan what you're doing, and you want to make sure you're ready. So reference is very, very important when it comes to doing these kind of things. So yeah, definitely spend some time doing that. And then once you're ready, do the composition and all the other stuff. Definitely then. Okay, Seaweed Riptide said, how do you go about studying, and could you show some examples, drawings? Studying. Yeah, so studying, this is my little folder I've got, and it's just like sketches that I've done, and sometimes I'll do a random sketch and I'll just plonk it. So this is kind of an area where I'll go and just plonk it all here. So anything that I've done, most of it's like for Patreon. And so this is kind of like my studying, I guess, like things I've done before, and then I'll just plonk them in here and stuff, anything that's on the way. So some of it's like some feedback I've done for you guys, and like the way I've done certain things, and I'll just plonk it in here, and because it's kind of practice for me too. So everything I do for you guys on Patreon is really helping me as well, practice, because the more you draw, the more you're learning, and I'm still learning as well, in the way of like at a certain level, you just gotta, you keep soaking it up. So every time I'm doing anatomy, anything, I draw it up, and yeah, I keep it here as like a reference, and I'll come back and be like, oh yeah, this is how I did that bit. And so I always this is where I practice. Any anatomy fixes and stuff I've done for you guys, and this was mostly all your work, by the way. I think that was, I can't remember the name, sorry, but that was just an anatomy draw over of the original. So, but yeah, this is all just I keep practicing. So, yeah. All right, last one, April. So you said, how do you go? Who do you go to when you need a critique on your work? Oh yeah, good question. Sometimes I'll go to my best friend Bobby Baxter. And if you ever want to follow Bobby, check him out here, Bobby Baxter Cartoons on Instagram. And yeah, this is Bobby's work. He's very cartoony. This is my best mate. I've been friends with him since I was like 17. And yeah, we live in the same town too, so it's really good we catch up. Like, this is one of his recent pieces. He did this for his daughter, just for her bedroom. And this is actually her soft toys that he turned into animated cartoons, basically. And yeah, so Bobby has got a totally different style, very cartoony. He's very Ren and Stimpy as well. He did a Game of Thrones one here. But I usually go for him for advice. If I need any, because he's been to university and studied about everything. Like, he knows colors and composition, and like, he's very good with all that kind of stuff. So I usually go to him when I need help with, like this one for instance. He's got a really good understanding of just color theory and just all the stuff that, if I want some help on a certain thing, I'll say, what do you think about this, mate? And is this going the right way? So Bob's my go-to. What things do you do to continue to grow your art? To grow in your art, sorry. I just keep practicing, and I try to draw things that I want to just have fun with. So that's how I grow, is, like I said before, fan art. I stick to it. So any chance I get, I will draw some fan art, and that is how I tend to grow, because it's just what I've always done. And I have too much fun with it, and it's just gives me that really big boost of motivation. So that's kind of what I do, and I just practice a lot more as well, anatomy, things like that. So yeah, that's probably all that's how I do it. How did you start up your own Patreon page? How did you promote it? And how long did it take to get as many patrons as you do? Well, to start with, it really did help to have all the followers from DeviantArt all of those years ago. They know what they're getting with me, so it's like fan art and drawing, and especially if they love video games and they know I draw a lot of video games, so they follow me. And so that was the main help. I couldn't have had the Patreon. It wouldn't have worked without everyone who's followed me over the years. So that's how that worked, really. So, and it was very hard to start up. I had to set it up right. I had to plan it. Had to make sure that I didn't really have much of a plan at the start, but as it's gone over the year or two, it's been a long time now actually since I really started. I think 2015 or 16 I started the Patreon. But I've learned over the years what I should be doing, and introducing new things and new ideas. For instance, making sure that tutorials are fortnightly. Now people know what to expect, and that helps bring people in as well, because they know that people want to know what they're going to get. So, and that's been fun, and monthly projects as well, and turning this into basically, like, it was only a year or two ago and I realized I'm turning this into basically an artist place to go, like a hotspot where you can go and just experiment or get feedback, like the Discord and things like that. So my goal now is to turn it into a place where people can feel like they can learn and grow as artists with each other, so as a community. And it took it took a long time to get it up and running. Actually, to start with, it's a very slow process, because you have to try and get it to a point where you can earn money off it to live off. That took a few years, actually. It's taken years. How are some of your art... who are some of your art inspirations? Heroes? Yeah, so... as I mentioned before, Umberto Ramos and Ryan Otley are the biggest too. So they're the main ones. And that's it. That's all the questions. And we've gone for an hour and 20 minutes with this. So, I didn't really get that far with this guy, did I? It took me over an hour to do this. It's only because I'm talking so much. It's hard to I find it really hard to concentrate if I'm trying to talk to and think at the same time. So that's why this guy took way longer than should have. But I'll finish him up. I'll finish him up later and post him up because I really want to see what this guy might look like if he's as he's fleshed out. Anyway, all right. Well, that's about it. I don't even know if there's anything else I need to bring up. I've already mentioned most of it. You know, I personally, I'll just talk about a little bit what's going on in my life. So, things have been going really like cruisy with everything, but the pressure is on with Marvel. That's been pretty stressful. Like, there was a point, I think it was 2 weeks ago, and it was almost like insomnia. Like, I couldn't sleep. I just couldn't switch off. My brain was just going. And so it was really hard to sleep for a little while. So I eventually realized I just took like a good weekend off, and I didn't touch any work. And that's all I needed was like to have a good weekend and actually breathe. Because I've been working a lot of weekends too. Like, I'm putting a lot of hours in. And so that was pretty stressful. I actually had these weird kind of... Oh, it wasn't like heart palpitation. It felt like I had to force myself to breathe. And I found out it was like not a panic attack. It was like an anxiety thing. And that's because I was so under pressure with work. So I got that under control too, and I was completely fine. So it really was in the brain. It was just a brain thing, like thinking too much and overwhelmed and all that. So got myself right. That was just a few weeks ago. And now I'm 100%. Like, I needed a good weekend to just play video games. I was just playing Cyberpunk for like 2 or 3 days straight. Absolutely smashed it and loved it. And really good game too, by the way. I'm just so glad they fixed it, you know, because it had a lot of issues before, and the way it was. But now I feel like it's 100% really good. It's beautiful. They fixed all the issues. I've had 1 or 2 bugs in my 45 hours of experience of gameplay in there. So, but no, apart from that, what else happened in my life? Yeah, just usual. Anyway, well, I won't keep it. I'm not going to drag this out too long. It's been an hour and 20. I'm sure you guys probably want to leave now. So, all right. Well, let's leave it there. Thank you for watching, everybody. I hope this was fun, and I would like to turn this into a podcast one day. Like, it'll be kind of like this, and just talk, and I might get the questions like that. I really like that. I can just get a big list of questions that you guys want to, or just talk about, and go from there. We could even do a live thing. I could turn it into a live podcast where you can just ask and just talk to each other. I don't know. I've got to plan it so that it works in my hours as well, and my days are really unpredictable. So, all right. Well, I don't know. I'll get this guy sketched up. Might have a go at it later. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and I'll see you later. Have a good one. Bye.